Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about something a little bit different. You guys have been asking me to play this game, and it's called Combat Champions. There's a playtest going on right now on Steam. You can enter it for free. So I figured, well, people are asking me to play this, so I might as well give it a shot. What's the worst that could possibly happen? People were saying it's quite like Battlefield, and apparently there are even some ex-Battlefield 3 and 4 DICE developers working on this game. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You might think you're subbed, but you're not. If you watch a lot of my videos, only takes one click to check. Over 70% of people that watch my videos are not subbed, and I stream every single day on YouTube and Twitch. Be sure to turn notifications on so you don't miss when I go live. So, Combat Champions, what is this game all about? What do I think about it? Do I think it has any sort of potential for growth? Blah, 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 all that good stuff. I went into playing this game without knowing anything about the game whatsoever, and with the mindset that this is just something fun to try and, you know, whatever, I'll just see how I like it. And I think that really helped. So when you launch this game, obviously it's a playtest, but it greets you with a message stating that the developers of the game are aware that there are some things that are not finished and all this sort of stuff. And actually, when I was streaming this game a couple days ago, the person that runs Combat Champions social media, such as their Discord and Twitter, was actually in my stream on the official Combat Champions account, and he told me the developer team for Combat Champions is only 25 people. So with taking that into account and looking at the game's state, it's obviously very early. The game is definitely a bit like Battlefield, but I wouldn't say that it's, you know, a Battlefield competitor, ladies and gentlemen. You have people dancing in the spawn in little costumes. You can even pick up certain costumes and run around in them in game, like a fish or a duck or something like that. It's definitely a whimsical game. Certainly not a game to be taken very seriously, and I think that's completely fine. Now, some people are going to rag on this game for saying that it looks like a mobile game or it looks like some sort of Chinese virus, but again, you have to remember, it's a 25-person dev team. Much like BattleBit, they're not really backed by, you know, like multi-billion-dollar EA, okay? So they're doing their best with what they have, and to be honest with you, it's not that bad considering the amount of people working on it. Much like Battlefield, Combat Champions offers multiple different classes you can play, but the weapons are locked to the specific class like Battlefield sort of used to be. So if you play Recon, you have your auto snipers and your snipers. Your medic class has your assault rifles. Then you have classes that are restricted with SMGs and shotguns and all that stuff. The game mode you play is exactly like Battlefield Conquest, and I can't believe I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, but in my opinion, the maps that I played today in Combat Champions are overall better than some Battlefield 2042 maps. So, DICE, guys, you really need to step it up. You can definitely tell while playing Combat Champions that the game is in a very rough early state. The movement is extremely floaty and not that precise. The game seems to have sort of a low gravity effect to it overall. The gunplay is actually fine, but it's definitely missing some sort of, you know, oomph or some animations or something to just finish it off. But again, the game's in a very early state. Funnily enough, while I was playing this game, some of the weapons in Combat Champions have more recoil and a more difficult recoil pattern than the weapons in Battlefield ever had. I was using the P90 in Combat Champions, and it actually had substantial horizontal recoil, and it was harder to control than I think any weapon in Battlefield 2042. In terms of the weapon balance and things that I noticed while playing Combat Champions, explosives are a little too good, let's just say. Instead of taking gunfights, people would just blow you up with grenade launchers and rocket launchers, and it was a little too easy to do that without getting punished, because the time to kill in Combat Champions is actually significantly longer than I expected. Although headshots matter quite a bit, and it seemed to me if I got headshot or if I headshot somebody else while I was shooting at them, they died pretty much instantly. It's also worth noting that if you are killed in this game, you enter a downed state waiting to be revived, and you can execute people in that downed state to prevent them from being revived. Another interesting thing about this game is that there are actually map pickups in the form of a massive autocannon that looks like the minigun from Team Fortress 2 if you play heavy. That gun just shreds people. I don't actually know where it spawns, but I did find a couple throughout the maps that I played. And then there's also something called like Team Up or whatever it's called, like Fire Up. You press V and there's this massive aura around you that is actually a team buff. So it kind of incentivizes you to play really close to your team and buff them with that buff you can find sitting across the map. And another hilarious thing about that buff is that when you actually hit the V key to activate it, it starts like a death metal soundtrack in the background, which again incentivizes you to just go and frag people. Oh, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This indie game being worked on by 25 people, yeah, it has a scoreboard in it from launch. Isn't that incredible, ladies and gentlemen? Can we get a round of applause for the developers of Combat Champions? Because it clearly seems to me that they understand what type of game they're making, an FPS game. Now, the last two things I'll talk about here is just a little bit more about the classes so you guys understand, and just a little bit more about some of the game modes and what happens at the end of a game. If you are enjoying this video, or if you want to see more about this game, be sure to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on to know when I stream, because I do stream on YouTube as well as Twitch every single day now. And if you were in the streams, you saw these clips as they happened, guys. Just saying. Now, about the classes, I mentioned it's kind of like Battlefield in that regard. You got your meta class, you got your support class, you got your anti-tank, you got your recon, and you got your breacher class. So the weapons are split up based on these classes. Recon has your auto snipers and your bolt actions. Medic has your assault rifles. Breacher has shotguns, interestingly enough. I think the engineer class has rocket launchers and some of the submachine guns. And then carbines are spread between, I think, engineer and breacher, if I remember correctly. So it's certainly interesting how they split up the weapons, but each of these classes has their own unique ability. There is a class that has a jetpack that can shoot you up into the sky for a short period of time, and in general around the map there are actually slingshots that you can sling yourself across the map to get places quicker, and then you can deploy your parachute and fly around. I typically played Medic when I played this game, and the healing does take quite a long time to kick in, but when you do have it kick in, it seems to tick up quite fast, if that makes sense. So there's definitely some sort of large delay there, and in terms of the reviving mechanic and how that works, it's quite quick, and it reminds me of PUBG a little bit in the way you have to go up to him and then hold a button until he's revived. The last thing I'll mention in this video is what happens at the end of some games. I'm not sure if some games ended tied or if this always happens in Combat Champions, but when a normal round of Conquest ends, it goes to a second round that I suppose can be used to tie the game or to win the game for the other team. This happened a few times, and there was a really cool event where actually it became sudden death. And the way this game mode worked was a lot like One in the Chamber from Call of Duty. You were given a pistol and one bullet, and if you hit another person with that pistol, they would instantly die and you'd get another bullet. And the way you win this is you have to kill every single person on the opposing team in order to win that game mode, and you get another point for your team, and then I guess you win the game in general. I thought that was pretty cool. And in general, I had quite a bit of fun while playing Combat Champions, but my only confusion with this game is I don't really know how this game is going to do when it releases. It's definitely a bit of an acquired taste, and it's definitely a bit strange. I think that might be off-putting for the majority of people, and that has me, pretty worried for this game's release, because it is a small team of devs. If it is popular, how are they going to keep up with demand? How are they going to be able to push out a bunch of content that people probably want? And again, the game's just a bit goofy and whimsical, so I'm not really sure about the longevity of this game. I just think it's a little fun game to jump on and play, much like BattleBit was. But I suppose we have to just wait and see how this game progresses. Again, this is a very early build. I'm actually surprised the devs are allowing a playtest while the game is in this state. So we'll have to see how the game progresses. We'll have to see all the content that gets added and all the refinements that are made. And I suppose I'll just make a video when the next playtest drops. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, let me know your thoughts about this game and if you've played it in the comment section. I also stream every single day on YouTube and Twitch. So drop by the streams. I could be playing XDefiant or Battlefield or maybe Combat Champions while you drop by. So yeah, let me know if you came from this video, if you come to a stream, and I'll see you guys later.